Hey, welcome back to episode 45 of the Cellarcast. Woo! uh, if you notice that my voice is maybe a little hoarse today, I don't know if it'll pick up. But yeah, I've been talking. I've been talking a lot. I had kind of a busy day. If anyone remembers, when I volunteered at GDC, it was with like a local video game museum called The Maid, and they finally got a new location. So I was helping them load boxes. They're great. If you're ever in Oakland, California, check them out. I'm sure they'll be up and running in like a couple weeks at least. Yeah. So I did that. I did the most physical labor I've done in a very long time. I've got no arm strength. I've got like zero muscle. I'm like, my entire body is maybe like 7% fat and like 6% muscle. And most of that 6%, 5 of that 6% is my heart. Because I got such a big heart. Anyway, I was thinking a little bit today about YouTube streaming and how I'm only bringing this up because I want to have like a psychic moment where like I called it, because supposedly there's some updates coming to the YouTube gaming / live thing sometime soon, like in the next week or so. I don't know. But I want to put this out before any of that happens. So if maybe it's a letdown, maybe it's exactly what I said to do. So yeah, YouTube has had a live streaming function for a long time. It's been I actually don't even know when they implemented it, because I feel like I've seen live streams from like 9 years ago. And it was just like really obscure and like, how do you even do this type of thing? Yeah, but so they really kind of implemented it a couple of years back to make it like a real feature of the website. And here's the thing is like, I see all this news about like Twitch, right? And how Twitch is... I genuinely think that Twitch has like... They do have not a monopoly on the streaming market, but they're obviously like they're the top dog right now, at least in the West. I know like some other countries have their own streaming sites, like in Japan, Nico Nico is really popular. What is it? I forget what it's called in China, but I think they have a similar thing in China. Pardon me. So, like, at least in the West, Twitch is the number one. And I really think that there's, like, sort of a complacency with Twitch in terms of, like, features and just the overall user experience. Like, there's too many ads on Twitch. It's, like, a horrible, like, jumping in experience unless you have, I don't even think... No, I think you have to watch ads if you're not, like, a subscriber to a channel or something. To, like, click on a stream and there's, like, an ad. You're like, okay. Then you wait through the ad. And then if you're a regular viewer, it's like... I have to mute Discord. This is... Oh boy. This is distracting me. If you're a regular viewer... And you're like, oh, you're just browsing around, but every single time that you click on a new channel, it's like, here's an ad, here's another ad. The player, the player's always breaking for me. I don't know what it is, but every time I watch anything on Twitch, it's always breaking for some reason, or it's lagging out, or just something weird happens. The Twitch player broke in the middle of an ad one time for me. I'm not even kidding you. Like, it was actually when the Street Fighter 6 announcement happened, and I was watching Maximilian Dude's like live stream of the event, and like 10 or so minutes before it happened, he played like 7 or 8 ads in a row, so that like that sounds ridiculous, but the reason for that is so that you won't get random ad. There's like a cooldown period, I think, on how often you can get ads. So he was just trying to like make it so that an ad didn't pop up right as something like hype was happening or the reveal was happening. So we just played like 7 or 8 ads in a row, and I was like, all right, fine, like nothing's fucking going on. I'll just wait through it, tab over to something else. And guess what? On like ad number 3, it broke. The player broke, and I had to reload the whole thing. I was like, are you kidding me? And it started from the first ad. I had to watch 7 ads again. So I ended up watching 10 ads in total. It was like ridiculous. It was so, I'm like, oh my god. I think that like, dude, if YouTube, because I hear this thing all the time from like people who want to stream on Twitch, like they want to get started on Twitch, and it's like, well, how do I grow on Twitch? And the answer is you don't, unless you're like super lucky, or I guess if you have like some kind of a connection that can get you publicity off of the site. Like getting publicity on Twitch or getting popular on Twitch is so difficult. It's so difficult. Because it's such a top-heavy platform. And because there's like this thing with like streamers with like really active chats, the more people you have in your stream, the more active the chat is going to be. And so the more of like a community it feels like, which is going to attract other people because they don't want to, a lot of people don't feel like being in like a tiny little stream with nothing happening, like in the outside of the stream itself. Like that's part of the experience for people. So it's this very like, it's this like vicious cycle, I guess, or it's this positive feedback loop of like streams just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and kind of sucking viewership away from other people. And so like the way that everyone who's like gotten big on Twitch is like, yeah, you don't get big on Twitch alone. What you have to do is you have to grow an audience on a different platform, usually YouTube, and then direct them over to Twitch. And I'm like, that is so annoying. And it's crazy that Twitch's like brand is basic. The foundations of Twitch's brand, which is its like talents, its creators, is dependent on a competing website, is so ridiculous. But I was thinking about this because like you're like, man, if fucking YouTube got their act together with the streaming, they could take it I think they could take it up. What am I trying to say? I think they could take it overnight. I genuinely think, like, super quickly. So like here's my idea, for instance, right? So like if you go to the YouTube, let me go to the YouTube tab right now. Let me go to where even is live? It's on more from YouTube. There's gaming and then there's a live. So like YouTube gaming is like their Twitch thing where it's like games. But then also, wait, what? Oh, this is so weird. It's like I go to YouTube gaming. I've never actually like used this. Top live games is the first thing. Oh, okay. So that's kind of like Twitch. Oh, the first one's Minecraft. The top viewed... Oh, God. The top viewed... Oh, geez. So the top viewed stream is, let's see, 199, 755, almost 5,000. Yeah, these don't look like... This is the top streaming game? 34K watching worldwide. Where are they? There's 200 people watching this one stream. Where are all these people? What? And then I scroll down under like the live section, which is what I clicked for because it's the live stream part, I thought. And then there's recommendations that have nothing underneath it as videos. It's recommendations of things that aren't even related to Minecraft. There's 2 videos that are Minecraft related. And then there's a Lion Maker video. Oh, and then Oh, the first video is Sky Does Minecraft. Oh, that's unfortunate. And then Lion Maker. Oh, that's unfortunate. um, what is this? So that's what YouTube gaming is. And then underneath that is just videos. Recommended videos that have to do with gaming? Yeah, pretty much. And then trending videos, and then from my subscriptions, and then Guilty Gear XX. Okay, so that's what YouTube gaming is. It's just, I don't even know, like, what is this? How is this any different from the, like, what function does this achieve that I don't get through the subscription box and the homepage? Because it's basically the same thing. It's just YouTube, it's just gaming focused, but if you're already into gaming, that's what your recommendations and subscriptions probably already are. So let's go down to live. Let's see what live is. Let's see. Okay. The top streams here are always like who the fuck is watching 2022 Met Gala live from E stream? There's 4 people waiting for it. It's scheduled for tomorrow at 4 p.m. What the fuck? Why is this the featured live stream? There's only 3 featured live streams. And then underneath that, live now. Okay, Ludwig. Okay, that makes sense. Fortnite. ASMR rain. Or it's not really ASMR. It's just like relaxing rain. Relaxing like forest sounds. The news. Relaxing falling asleep thing. Like, this is... I am so fucking... Like, okay. And then... Oh, Jesus Christ. Is there any kind of recommendation? No, there is nothing that is recommended to anything that I am actually interested in. This blows my mind that, like, if I go... Let me go to my homepage right now. Let me go to my homepage. This is for my this is my personal account, so this is all the stuff that I actually watch. Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Pretty much everything here is something that I'm interested in. FF14, fighting games. I've been watching CoffeeZilla. Just watched a video from this guy that I liked. Got recommended again. A mix of music that I've been listening to. Editing tips. Hololive. Everything is here is stuff that I would actually be interested in watching based off of like what I'm actually interested in. Then you go to live and it's like, do you want to see nothing? There is nothing that is actually tailored to like a recommendation, which is like so absurd to me. It's so absurd. Like, you can't find anything that's even remotely close to my, like, interests. All the interests, you know how much time I spend on YouTube? You can't give me anything that's, like, what I'm interested in? You're giving me the Met Gala? What? And I just think, like, here's my idea. Okay. Here's my idea. Okay. It's a multifold idea. Here's what I think YouTube could do that I think would here's what I would do if I was in charge of this thing. I would make it so that the homepage was like for videos, and then there was a separate in this top thing with like home explore. I don't know why there's a fucking thing for shorts but not live streams, and that's why that's under like more from YouTube. Put that shit on the top. Have a thing that says home and like live. And then you go to the live thing, and the live thing is actually tailored should seem obvious. Actually tailored to things that you're interested in. And then there's like a separate like trending live thing. And so like that's where you go where you want to see like, oh, this is what's trending in the gaming category. This is what's trending in the these are the games that are trending. These are the streams that are trending. And then you can like subscribe maybe to like specific games. Like, there's like platforms on like, I think Instagram and Twitter do this. You can like subscribe to hashtags on those platforms. Have that for YouTube. So like, oh, I want to see the current Minecraft live streams. I don't know. And then, okay, here's where we get to the second part. Click on the subscriptions. Now the subscription box is going to be split again into two sections. One is for videos and the other one is for everything related to streaming. So there's just two tabs. This is videos and streams and live, or whatever you want to call it. That's your name for it. Videos and live. Because, alright, I really enjoy... Here's the thing. Here's something I haven't mentioned. If you've never watched a stream on YouTube, it's pretty nice. The experience is nice. The player is extremely stable. I love the YouTube player, actually. I've always loved the YouTube player. It has a lot of just, like, nice little features. Like, being able to immediately, like, backtrack? What the fuck am I talking about? I'm like 70 years old. Rewind. Does that make me sound old? It's just, just skip back, right? It's really easy to do that without, like, exiting the stream and, like, going to the channel and, like, clicking on the VOD. Like, it's weird on Twitch. There's a lot of nice things. And also what's really nice is that everything is on one platform, right? Like, this is why I think that it could be so successful. Like, the potential for the live streaming on YouTube could be so successful is because just the sheer convenience. Like, I would stream more. I used to do more streams, and why I don't do them anymore is, one, just because I was focusing on other things, but, like, part of the reason I was focusing on other things was because streams clutter up your channel if you're not like consistently streaming. Like, this is why I made the podcast its own channel. It's because, like, if I stream, a lot of the people, pardon me, who are subscribed to my channel are not going to watch, maybe, like, if it's an event or something like that, like something that I kind of built up to. Pardon me. But, like, if I just want to casually stream, I can't do that. Because, I mean, I can, but, like, it's really, like, annoying. And it's worse for my channel. So what I would do is I would just separate everything. Because for how nice it is, if I look at my subscription box right now, I'm subscribed to, like, I don't even know how many VTubers. And most of them stream on YouTube, right? And, like, the way that YouTube has handled this is like, oh, okay, well, when someone's live and you go to your subscription box, it'll be at the top of your subscriptions. And, like, I get that, but it's kind of like, I'm not looking for that right now. I don't want to watch a live stream right now. And then, when they are done streaming, the VOD is just stored, it's just kept in your, in your subscription box. And it's like I can see it right here, 2 hour and 42 minute fucking VOD of a stream from 4 hours ago. And it's like, it's clutter. And then like live streams that are scheduled show up, and it's like, it's cluttered, and it's really not what I'm looking for. Shorts are in here too. Wow, goddamn. What I would do is I would have a separate, keep all the videos in the subscription box, and then in the subscription box there's another thing that you go into the live stream section, and then what you have there is an interface and a layout that is entirely, I would love it to be based off of, if anyone isn't familiar with this, it's a website that I used to use all the time. Now it's kind of been like, it kind of like breaks because, like, it hasn't been kept up. But it was called hololive.jettree.co, also aka Holo Tools, because there's like 100 fucking Hololive VTubers. So basically, this was a website that was meant to keep track of, like, the streams that were going on, and just to keep track of, like, all that stuff. And I love the layout of this website. So basically, the way that it is that it's divided into 3 sections, top to bottom. The top is current live streams. So it tells you, it has a little icon of whose channel it is, the thumbnail, and then how long the stream's been going on. And then underneath it is the middle section was streams that... What was it? Oh, it's... Okay. Is no one streaming right now? Oh, it was... What the fuck? What was the layout of this site? There's only 2 sections right now. So I guess one of them... Okay, yeah. So it was... The top section is currently ongoing streams. The middle section is finished streams. And the bottom section is streams that are scheduled. And the streams that are scheduled tell you, like, you know, in, like, 4 hours. And then it's more specifically underneath that, like, this date, this time. And these are all broken up by little dividers. Wonderful, fantastic. This is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I want. That's exactly 1-to-1 how I would do it for YouTube. Just have that, but for channels that I'm subscribed to. And whenever a channel goes live, it doesn't end up in their videos tab. It ends up in their, like, live stream tab. And that's just how it's organized. Just keep it separate. The problem, and what's annoying and, like, cumbersome about the way that they've handled it on the website, is that everything is too close together, and it's not content that some people are looking for. And I think that's why some people just don't engage with it, because it seems like it just clutters stuff up. Oh yeah, and I mean, while you're at it, use that little clips function that you guys added. They added that little, like, you can clip a thing. Just use that for live streams, and then have that. I'm pretty sure you can already do it with live streams, but then let me, like, make a little highlight clip out of it, and just use the same fucking system you use for shorts, but just, like, I don't know, make it widescreen, and then just make it like a highlights thing, so I can go to, like, when I go to the live tab, I can see, like, here's the top highlights from this game. Here's the top highlights of the day. And then when I go to my subscriptions, it can be like, here's a section specifically for highlights from the channels that you subscribe to. This is how I would do it. I'm getting upset thinking about it, because I feel like they would never do that, because it would be too good, and they don't know how to run a website. Oh, I feel like the infrastructure is so there. I feel like everything is there to make something that's really easy to use. Because, like, imagine, like, okay, here's my thought process. If you're someone who wants to get into streaming, right? So, hang on. So, like, within the next 5 years, someone that is not popular now is going to get super popular in streaming. Guaranteed. Is that going to be, like, a tremendous amount of people? No, but, like, let's just say statistically there's, like, 1 or 2 people who no one knows about now, but is going to be really big in, like, 5 years. Because that's just how this stuff works. If you are that person who is just starting their streaming journey, which... And YouTube has all these features that I just described. Which platform do you think they would go with? Maybe they'd go with Twitch if they prefer the culture or something like that, or they just prefer, you know, the I don't know. I guess people tie the identity of being a Twitchite, a Twitcher, to the Twitcher 3 Wild Hunt. They tie that to their, like, personality. I think some people are just way too into Twitch, and it's fucking weird. Are you gonna go with Twitch or YouTube? I don't know. In my mind, I feel like you would probably go with YouTube, because everything's there. Everything's already there. People only go to Twitch because it's the main one. And in order to get onto Twitch, they go to YouTube. Like, imagine if you could have, like you're only so many, like, super viral highlight clips away from like, blowing up as a live streamer. I don't know if that's exactly how it works, but let's just say that that's how it works, or it's around how it works, right? Well, like, shit, You could just have that on your YouTube channel. You just have that on your YouTube channel, and nobody even has to go to a different website to like look at you. It's like it's one click, it's one tap, and now they're looking at your actual content, as opposed to whoever re-uploaded this from like Twitch, because there's no like cross thing. I just think about it, I'm like, God, yeah, I would stream a lot, actually. Maybe not a lot, but I would stream way more than I do now, which is basically not at all. If there was something like that. Like, oh my God, fucking like every weekend or whatever, I would just like boot up Plus R and like just start streaming or something, and just stream for like an hour or two. That'd be so much fun. I don't know. I'd get like Mama Max to play Risk. I wouldn't have to get Mama Max to play Risk of Rain with me. He would ask me. He would hound me down to play it. That dude fucking loves that game. He's a freak. Fuck it. Like, that would be really fun. Like, stream that with him, just like once or twice, or every now and again. That would be super fun to do, and just chit chat. Because like when I did the tournament stream, which wasn't actually a tournament stream, the most fun part of that was honestly just talking to like the audience, just talking to, I guess, you guys, and just like going on a weird little adventure with like some of my commenters, looking into indie, super indie obscure like Japanese fighting games. Like, that was super fun, and to just like do that. And honestly, it's something that I'd be down to do, but like fuck, dude, like I don't want to like start up a whole thing on Twitch to do that and then be like, hey, because I would have to, in order to justify that, I'd have to like actually stream on Twitch somewhat regularly so that people could actually catch it, as opposed to, oh hey, Tigan's gonna be streaming in like tomorrow. Oh, let me hang around to catch that. Or hey, he's streaming right now. Let me check in. Let me check it out. I'm already on YouTube. I'd have to like actually stream consistently on it in order to like get people to, I don't know, in order to like make it viable. Because you have to be like, in your video, you have to be like, hey, come watch me on Twitch. Like, how many YouTubers have you seen be like, hey, come watch me on Twitch? And they have to like do that consistently and regularly, and I don't really want to do that. I just want to maybe do it every once in a while, because like casually streaming is kind of fun. I don't want to like actually dedicate a bunch of time to it, and I don't want, if I was to do it on YouTube with the way it is right now, I'd basically have to make another channel, and I don't want to do that because like that's just it's annoying, right? Like, my main audience, my core, I guess, subscriber base, or most of my audience, I mean, they don't even really care that much about, this podcast. There's like 36 subscribers. So like, it would take even longer to get anything going on there. Like, am I going to start another channel to like do that? Because if I do it on my main channel, it's going to just clutter stuff up, and it's going to be annoying and weird, and it's, going to be anachronistic to why I even started this channel, which was to clean up the main one and to like focus my content more. So it's just like, yeah, it's really obnoxious. And I think that if, with like a couple changes, and I feel like the infrastructure is almost there. It's like so close. They could implement this. I'm just picturing it in my mind. It wouldn't even like, you don't have to move the heavens and the earth in order to do this. And they would be so poppin'. It would be so good. Ay, ay, ay. What a long intro. Let's get to the comment review. I had to get that off my chest. First comment comes from Rem. Haven't seen you before, Rem. Nice to meet you. Who will bail out Platinum now? Well, Jesus. It was really unfortunate. I think I mentioned it on the last episode that, like, there's, like, this interview, and this is partially, like, there's this one website, pardon me, that did an interview with, like, someone from Platinum, I forget who, and they were only releasing, like, pieces from the interview, like, in bits and pieces. Oh, jeez, whoa. Ugh. Ugh. I'm like, I had that weird, it isn't like a burp, it's just like a bunch of like just your whole, like, you know, what do you call that? Not the throat. Like intestine? On the way from your throat to your intestines, whatever that is. I guess that's the intestine. Or is it? Oh, I don't know. You know when that just kind of like convulses because of like, oh, you're like kind of burping and it's like, you get this little like swell of like burp coming up. Anyway, they've only been releasing it in like bits and pieces, and it makes Platinum. Why did I say Testament? It makes Platinum look really desperate. Yeah, fuck. Their best bet would be like, I guess Square could buy them, but like I don't really want that. And honestly, I don't know if Square trusts that. Square's gonna, you know, run them through. Square's gonna destroy that company. I don't want that. They could. I don't know. Maybe some kind of like crazy last minute. I don't know. I'm just thinking of like companies who could. I'm thinking at this point they just want to get acquired and become like a second party, or like, you know, be like right underneath some, like a publisher. I don't know. I'm just thinking like Capcom, Bandai Namco, Koei Tecmo. Maybe Koei Tecmo. Maybe. They do have, I don't know, 2B was in Soul Calibur. Maybe? I don't know. Yeah. I hope someone does, because I really believe that there's some great talent at Platinum. And I don't know, I don't want to see that go to waste. They make something that's very cool. Let's see, our second question comes from Gus. He says, so, last month I decided to make myself a collection of figures. Oh, hey. Looking back at my collection. There was this shop near my workplace that was making a sale because they were going to close for good. Oh, quite sad. So I bought myself a really beautiful Anna Williams Kotobukiya statue. Anna Williams from Tekken. I have to remind myself what she looks like. No, I don't want the architect. Oh. 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 Let me see if I can actually find the specific... Kotobukiya statue. Oh, looks great. Yeah, that's super cool. I like this character. A couple of days later, I already had 6 other figures, most of them from Kotobukiya and Banpresto. Now I'm at a point where I decided to go all out and ordered a collector's edition of Elden Ring and a Persona 5 Phantom Thieves edition, and a couple of other things. Safe to say that I end up spending way too much. Out of curiosity, what do you think of this type of collectibles and limited items and their pricing? Here in Brazil, a single figure can go out at the same price as a cell phone or a console. At the very least, I was able to afford all that. Well, trust me when I say it's not just Brazil. Yeah, it's physical goods collecting. Not just figures, but like all physical goods collecting can get really pricey. Yeah, I mean, if I look back at my shelf, I have about 14 figures. It's probably, and I acquired those over the course of a few years. It's at least, I don't actually remember. I think I did like a rough estimate of how much I bought all of those for. Like in total. Like how much it's worth. And I want to say it was at least a couple $100. Like maybe for $5. There's a few, hang on, one of those was 90. I think the Rohan one was 90. That one was 80, so it's like 200 basically. Let's call it 300 maybe. Actually, no, probably more like 500. Yeah, it can get very expensive. It's definitely like, it's a luxury hobby, you know? It's one of those like, yeah, you're buying this because you want it type of things. Well, how do what do I think of it? Well, it's an interesting question actually because I've gone on a bit of a journey with collecting. I was never really into collecting as at all. Um, for pretty much anything in my life, like I tried, like I always thought like, oh, it's cool to have a collection, to like collect a specific thing. That the idea appealed to me of like, oh, whatever, coins or bottle caps or something like that. I don't know. Some weird examples. The idea was neat to me that like you could have this little hobby and there's always something like historical related to it. There's kind of like a very specific craft. I think it's just that it comes from the fact that I really like learning about new stuff and getting familiar with new things. I like being kind of like I like learning. I like not knowing things and like going through the experience of being a beginner at something. I actually really enjoy that. And with things like hobbies, it's like, well, you can get that super easy because you always start the hobby as like basically a total newcomer with no knowledge or a very basic knowledge. But I was just never able to find something that really interested me. Like I tried to think of stuff to collect, but nothing really like caught my fancy. I'm like, oh, I need to collect a bunch of this now. Like, oh, I want these things. I want one of these, I never got excited. I never got that like, oh yeah, type of thing. Until I was in high school, and I don't know. I think in high school I kind of used anime as like a supplement for personality. Or just to make up for how lonely I was. Who knows? And I got into figure collecting because I don't know. I think it was like a physical way for me to like show my appreciation for something. Like, I really love buying like shirts of stuff. Well, I say that's not really accurate. I have a lot of just like t-shirts that are just things that I like. And I always like having I love having like a cool piece of art on a shirt that I can like wear around. Be like, I like this thing. Like I have a bunch of band t-shirts. I have a couple like anime shirts. I have I don't know, I've just got some random shirts of like stuff that I really like. That I also find like aesthetically cool. So like I don't know, I enjoy like physical ways of showing my appreciation for something. That to me is like, I don't know. I guess there's like an appeal to that for me. Especially if it's like, I don't know, fashion. Or something I can like show off to people. Like, I like this thing. Yeah. I guess it's weird when I phrase it like that. So I got into figure collecting just because, I don't know, it's a very like anime-ish thing. And I just liked the idea of having that. It was also a time, I guess, at the time, because I live in our grandparents' house. Or basically the house that, like, I live in a very old house, is what I'm trying to say. And when we moved here, this was like basically that there was no accommodation made for the fact that like people were going to be living here. So literally all of my grandmother's furniture was still in here. And it's like, she's not in here, but I'm in here. And so I went like the first couple years, like first 2 years I lived in this room, and it was literally just my grandma's furniture because I didn't like have anything to decorate it with. And then I just kind of felt like I didn't really like own the space. And so I was like, I took a bunch of stuff out and then I replaced it with like, I've got a bunch of posters that you guys can't see because it's on the wall to my left and like in front of me, like behind my computer. And then in the back, it was like, I'm going to put a bunch of my figures. Figures were one way that I was able to like make my room my own. Like I can like kind of paint over it with stuff that I'm interested in, that I'm like passionate about. And I was really into collecting figures for a while, and honestly, I still do enjoy them. Like, I don't regret the ones that I have or anything like that. But I've definitely cooled on it. I've definitely cooled on, like, collecting things or just buying things in general, honestly. Um, and it kind of happened, I want to say around 2020. Yeah, 2020, I want to say. Because basically what happened then was that was when I built my computer. So when I built my PC, it was like... So the most stressful part of building a PC is not actually building the PC. It's the buying process. Because you gotta, like... Okay, because you kind of want to buy all the components in, like, one go. Like, I bought the monitor, keyboard, and stuff later, but, you know, all the actual computer stuff, I bought it in one go. And to do that, it's like, okay, what are my needs? What are, like, you know, I have to build it on, basically I have to build it on a spreadsheet first before I build it in real life. Like, what are my needs? What specs am I looking at? And then what is on the market that fulfills those needs? Are these parts compatible? Can I get them at a sale? Yada, yada. And you're doing this for, you know, like 10 different things at least. So it's like, it's very like, okay, don't fuck this part up. Really don't fuck this part up. And then I ordered everything, and then from that point on, it was like just this deluge, just this never-ending stream of, like, tracking numbers and online receipts and just like, oh, okay, I put it together and now it's not booting. I have to take it to a guy to fix the booting process, and I gotta pay for that. And then I gotta, I don't have a Wi-Fi card because I was gonna figure that out later. Well, actually, I got a Wi-Fi dongle from that guy. He was super cool. It was just like a dude in, like, an apartment building, and I fucking, like, I just dropped it off with him, and I told my dad about it, and he was like, that was so dangerous and stupid of you. And I couldn't explain to him, I was not able to explain to him that the reason that I wasn't worried was because the guy came out, and I don't know exactly what his race was, but he was like a Hispanic looking dude, and he had a Fatal Fury hat on, and I just immediately trusted him. Like, I don't know how to explain that to my dad. Anyway, he was great. He paid for my Windows installation on the house. I think he might have added it at, like, a discount charge, actually, to my final fee. And he gave me a fucking free Wi-Fi dongle. That guy was awesome. And then, but, like, oh, I needed, like, a Bluetooth thing for my Bluetooth earbuds. And then I went to go to the Best Buy. Oh, it was just a bunch of fucking things. Like, there was a bunch of things. I was buying a lot of stuff, is what I'm trying to say. I was buying a lot of stuff, and what I realized as I was buying a lot of stuff, and this was all for things that were worth it, right? Like, yeah, this PC was totally worth it. It's been awesome. I've really enjoyed, you know, a lot of the process. Like, this is not things that I find frivolous, right? This is stuff that's, like, pretty actually crucial, especially because this is what I technically do for a job. Quote unquote. A job, quote unquote. Pretty actually crucial that I had this. But it was so... I felt like my head was spinning with just how much stuff I had to buy. And just all this stuff and all these boxes and receipts and, like, manuals, and it was just way too much. And I was like, you know, I need to go on, like, a detox. I need to go on, like, a buying detox and just not purchase anything for, like, 2 months. And I think I got about that. Like, I might have bought, like, a game or something, but it was more, to me, it was more like the physical, I don't know. It was like, I just got really burnt out on, like, purchasing things. And I honestly still am 2 years out from that. I was like, I don't know. I've become very, like, like, I don't really want a lot of things now. Like, I don't know, earthly things. I don't know if there's, like, a non-pretentious way to say that. I just feel like I don't know. I've become much less like interested in material things, like buying things and stuff like that. I don't really understand. Like, I know there's people who like they buy a thing like they have, like 3 packages a week to their house, and I'm like, what do you even buy anymore? Like what is this? Like, what do you use it? Like, what is it? I guess there's like some people, they get like a rush from like the new thing, but I don't know. I don't, and at least not anymore. Um, I'm just very. I'm happy with the things I have, but I don't really want any more. What would I even want if I had to have something? I guess there's like a couple figures that I'm like, man, if I could have, there's like 2 figures, maybe 3, that I can think of that are like, man, if I could have those, I'd be happy with this collection. Other than that, it's like, I don't know. I really like the idea. I was thinking of this. I was thinking about this, like, if I was just like living on my own. I really like the idea of just living in like a 1-bedroom apartment with like absolutely no furniture, or as little furniture as possible. And I just want to like get a little mat, and I want to put it on the floor, and I want to sleep on the mat on the floor. And then I want to have like my PC on the ground. Actually, I don't think that's very good, because I guess it should be raised, because actually that's bad for dust. A little raised, like I have a little platform that it's on. And then what I want to do is I want to have like a little table, like a little bench sort of, that I can like put the monitor on, and then I can basically just spend all day like reclining on the ground on my mat. Maybe, so set up like a little like one of those pool chairs, kind of like that, but I'm on the ground, and maybe I've got like a pillow and I'm against the wall. And then like I have the little bench that I've got, and it's like over my lap, and that's where like my keyboard and stuff is. I don't know if that would work super well or be very comfortable. Maybe I would need a desk, but I would just think like, man, this is as little furniture as possible. And then I guess like I don't know, maybe like some pillows for people to sit on when they come over. Like people are coming over to my house. I was thinking about that on the bus the other day, and I was like, yeah, that would be so cool. I'd love that. I want no furniture. I want it to look like, I want to be able to like pack up and leave and make it look like no one's lived there in like 10 years. I'd like to clean, and then I was thinking about that on the bus to go see Kat the other day. And literally when I got off the bus, she's like, I bought this Garfield plushie at the store while I was walking on the way to see you. And I just realized, yeah, that would never work. Yeah, my dream would never work. Is it my dream? I don't know. I'm like, these are 2 incompatible me. I'm like, yeah, no furniture. And Kat, like, here's my 25 plushies. She gets her own corner in the side with the plushies. We will split the apartment into 2 rooms. No, it's 1 big room, and we split it in 2 with like a little divider. And one of them is my side with no furniture, and the other one is her side, and it's just like a couch and a bunch of plushies and like a TV for her. It looks like a normal house. Yeah. What the fuck was the question? What do you think of this type of collectibles and limited items and their pricing? Holy shit. What do I think of collectibles and limited items? I guess that's my opinion on collectibles, is that like collectibles are cool. I just like the just getting into something, and like having a hobby is neat. Like I think figures are a cool hobby, because like what I like about my figures is just like the artistic quality to them. Like there's a craft, and there's little details in them that you can appreciate, and there will be differences between different like I guess molds. No, I'm hiccuping. Like molds or pressings, I don't know what they're referred to as, of like, the same figure, depending on like, just little things that happen in the factory. And like, I don't know, I think that stuff like that is like a good, what would I call it? I don't know, it's a good like enriching process, if that makes sense. Like just a little thing to like grow in your little personal garden, if that makes sense. I think it's good to have hobbies and interests that are not tied to entertainment. I think that helps keep people from becoming weirdos. I think that when all of your hobbies and interests circle back to like entertainment properties, you get kind of weird because those are just like ideas, and when you spend too much time like immersed in ideas, you leave the ground. You need something to like, oh, here's a little figure that I like. I like it because of this. I know about this other figure. This is a figure that I would like because of this thing. Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, as long as you enjoy it and you don't go into debt over it. It's just like one of the things, right? Like it is kind of a luxury, I guess. It's a very hobbyist hobby, because it's like, you ask about the pricing and it's like, yeah, I mean, the pricing is, I got a lot of mine on eBay auctions, actually. That's what I did. I was like an eBay auction thief, dude. I was the guy who comes in in the last 5 seconds and bids $5 over the current ask, or over the the current price, and I was just swept in. I got so many figures like that. There's at least like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those fucking figures I got like that, of my 14. Over half are because I'm a little rapscallion. I'm a little tired, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, it's fun. I don't know, it's a fun thing to immerse yourself in. I think I'm good at talking about that with a comment review. Here's a neato little Cheeto. Classic multiplayer game, Wolfenstein, Enemy Territory, has released on Steam. So this is like, I've never played this game. Apparently it's like one of the best like multiplayer shooters ever made. I don't know exactly why. There's this article from Kotaku that talks about like the map design and stuff like that. It's like a 16v16 World War II class-based? Yeah, it looks like class-based. It's cool. It looks neat. And apparently it's like this total hidden gem. And there's this interesting little detail in the comments. Is this Luke Plunkett? I remember Luke Plunkett. I remember your silly little name. He's the guy who wrote this article for Kotaku. There's this funny little story in the comments where this game had so there were two guns, the Thompson SMG and the MP40. And most of the players in the initial beta of the game, the initial beta test, thought that the Thompson, that these two guns had one key difference. The perception was that the guns had what the fuck am I talking about? Basically, they thought that the Thompson was slower firing, but it was more powerful than the MP40. When in reality, they were the exact same gun, just with different models, and more importantly, sound effects. because the Thompson had like I think it was like just like had a deeper, heavier sound than the MP40. They did the exact same amount of damage, but people thought it was different, which is really funny. Kind of reminds me of that classic story from League of Legends where I think Riot, the patch came out and the patch notes said that Vladimir had been nerfed, when in fact they, due to an oversight, they actually forgot to implement that specific change. So they forgot to nerf him, even though they intended to. And the patch notes came out, and they caught it, like, I don't know how much longer, like a few hours later. But guess what? For like a day or two, Vladimir's win rate actually dropped. Because people believed that he was weaker. It's like such a funny, like, little thing. I got Wolfenstein. Enemy territory. Holy shit, it's free. Well, sure. Shirks. Free-to-play, objective-based multiplayer World War II first-person shooter. Up to 32 players, access or allies. 5 unique classes. Engineer, medic, soldier, field ops, covert ops. This could be fun. It's got LAN. It's 200 megabytes. Holy shit. Hey, dude, if you want... Dude, you know what? Here's the thing. There's enough... We have enough poverty fighting games, right? You know, the Skullgirls, the Melty Bloods, the games that are, like, really cheap and good, really good and very cheap, like, free or, like, a couple dollars on sale, that are like, you know, very affordable. They have these hardcore audiences because of that. We need the poverty shooter. We need the poverty shooter. I guess that, like, TF2 kind of is that. Let's see. Okay, looks like there's the number 1 review. Just in case you're curious about it, the number 1 review is for a little mod that makes the game, let's see, work properly on modern systems and lets you filter the servers with bots. Okay. So yeah, it looks like there's some of the yeah, it looks like there's just some, like, a couple little things you got to do to make it work properly. But hey, it's the price of admission. So yeah, check out Wolfenstein Enemy Territory. I'll probably play it. I don't know, tomorrow, today, who knows? Yeah, the poverty shooter. If you're not familiar, okay, yeah, I should run down what a poverty fighting game is, because I think that's only really a term that they use in the FGC. Poverty fighting games are games that are really cheap and really easy to run on basically any system. Usually, like, a really low-end laptop, for instance. So, like, good, cheap, well-optimized. That's why League of Legends is kind of a poverty game, in a weird way. I guess that's why it got popular. But, like, yeah, so, like, Skullgirls, Melty Blood, these are games that are either cheap or totally free. Well, Melty Blood, technically, you've got to pirate it, but, you know, because that shit was... Never mind. It's a whole other story about why it was more convenient to pirate it. But I'm talking about Actress again, current code specifically. Because it's games that, like, people who have an interest in the genre but don't have the money to either, you know, drop on a full-priced game or to, you know, have a system or a machine that's powerful enough to run it. They play that, and so they end up having kind of interesting little, like, small hardcore communities. And yeah, so we need that. I want to see Wolfenstein Enemy Territory get its like little niche. of people who are hardcore into playing it. I guess what's another game like that? Quake Live? Yeah, Quake Live is the like reboot. That's like Quake Live is literally just Quake 3. But I think it's free. And I'm pretty sure it's free. Oh, it's $10? Holy shit. I guess I got it on sale. Quake Live is like a... It's basically just Quake 3 multiplayer. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, check it out. Wolfenstein E.T. Yeah, what's this mod called? E.T. like Legacy, I think. Oh, there was a really neat next story. There was a really interesting AMA on Reddit. It was John Romero and Cliff Blezinski. Yeah, it's him. It's him, guys. Basically, the reason that I would have never put these two guys together. I would have never guessed. But, yeah. So basically, the reason that they're doing this together is that there is a documentary coming out called FPS First Person Shooter. And they are both featured in it, obviously, because John Romero, Wolf 3D, Doom, Quake, and Cliffy B did, Unreal Tournament, Gears of War. So, significant guys in the shooter genre, and they did an AMA together, and there's some really fun little bits. I mean, John Romero just gives out information all the time, but I'm sure if you're a fan of Gears of War, some of the ones with Blezinski are going to be pretty interesting. There was a really funny question someone asks John Romero what the biggest thing that hampered the success of Daikatana. And he says the game's flaw. His answers were the game's flaws and its marketing campaign. So just the game was bad, and the marketing was bad. Yeah. Cliff got a lot of questions about Jazz Jackrabbit. And he basically just said, yeah, Epic owns the IP. I'm not with Epic anymore. It would be cool, but yeah. He repeated that so many times. Also, interesting little thing where he says the failure of the first Unreal's multiplayer led to the success of Unreal Tournament 99. So all the things that they learned, all the mistakes they learned from the first game was contributed to Unreal Tournament. How cool. How neat. I don't exactly just want to like I just want to like run through an AMA. Holy shit, my brain just broke for a second. Someone did ask Romero, are you still going to make us your bitch? And he says, I'm working on it. Yeah, that's a great I'm glad that he's embraced it. Romero seems like such a cool guy. It seems like he like really mellowed out after the 90s. And even, I don't know, Cliff seems like he's doing fine. Honestly, Cliff Blezinski, it's fun to make fun of him. Oops, just smacked the fuck out of the pop filter. It's fun to make fun of him, but that's because he has this, like, he's like in his 40s or 50s, and he still has this kind of like, yeah, dude, I'm like a super, I'm so fucking cool, dude. I don't know, he's just kind of a goofball. Like, honestly, of all the like big gaming goofballs, he's probably the least offensive one. Like him and Todd Howard. It's like Todd Howard's worst thing is that he's kind of a dork and he's overpromised stuff. Not to like a Peter Molyneux extent, but like, yeah, you know. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they're like totally cool guys to work with in real life. in person, and those are just persona. That's just a persona that like Blezinski has. Also, the fact that he goes by fucking Cliffy B. Yeah. There's definitely much worse people who are like actually bad, but it is fun to make fun of them. Oh, Cliff likes Dusk. Awesome. I just reinstalled it. Yeah, so that's cool. I'll leave a link to that in the comments. Sorry, in the description. Check it out. And now, I guess finally the last thing that I really have on my to-do list. We're an hour in. I'm almost done. Here's something that's pretty interesting. Now, you guys remember Balan Wonderworld, don't you? So Balan Wonderworld was the most recent game by Yuji Naka, creator, well, quote-unquote creator of Sonic. It's up in the air. He's the creator of, like, Knights. But did he make Sonic? He was like a programmer. It's maybe he was part of a team. I've heard some stuff that maybe calling him the creator is a bit like calling Keiji Inafune the father of Mega Man. It's like, sort of. It doesn't quite tell the whole story. Well, Balan Wonderworld came out a little bit ago. I want to say a year ago, and it was hot garbage. It was a big freaking disaster, and it was a laughingstock for how bizarre and poorly thought out it was. Just a what happened moment, right? Well, I haven't thought about that game in a while. And then this thread comes out on Twitter from Yuji Naka himself. And it's pretty interesting. So, this is all in Japanese, but someone by the name of Cheesemeister on Twitter has gone ahead and translated the entire thread pretty credibly. Someone looking at their profile, they appears that they're fully bilingual, followed by Nibel, who is generally also a pretty trustworthy source. So I believe it. I'll believe. Take this. Obviously, it's through translation, but let's say that this is pretty accurate. So here's the thread. Quote, I was removed as the director of Balan Wonderworld about half a year before release. So I filed a lawsuit against Square Enix. What? Now that the proceedings are over, and I'm no longer bound by company rules, I'd like to speak out. Whoa. Okay. I think it's wrong of Square Enix not to value games and game fans. According to court documents, I was removed as the director. I need to go to sleep. As the director of Balan Wonderworld for 2 reasons. It was done by the producer, head of marketing, head of sound, managing director, and HR. First, when a YouTuber's arranged piano performance of the game music was released in a promotion instead of the original game track, turning the composer into a ghostwriter, I insisted that the original track be released, and this caused trouble. Second, according to court documents, Naoto Oshima told producer Noriyoshi Fujimoto that the relationship with Arzest, which I believe was, the fuck is Arzest? Some kind of external developer. Naoto Oshima is the founder of it. Let's see. The relationship with Arzest was ruined due to comments I made wanting to improve the game in the face of Arzest submitting the game without fixing bugs. Excuse me. I don't remember. I don't remember Balan being particularly buggy, but okay. Also, in an email from Oshima to Fujimoto, he wrote, quote, "I just told the staff about the demo delay." Because the demo for the game was delayed. "When I told them this was producer Fujimoto's decision, let's do our best for him, the staff applauded and cheered. This was unexpected, and I was moved." From Oshima to... So Oshima, who's the founder of Arzest, writes to Fujimoto, who I believe is the producer. Yeah, producer. So Arzest guy writes to the producer of the game, and he says, "I just told the staff about the demo delay, and I said that it was your decision. They applauded and cheered, and I was moved. The staff's been down lately, but their spirits have been revived. Thank you very much. All of us on the staff will work hard. So the schedule wasn't up to me." Okay, here's what he's saying. So what he's saying is that the delay from the game came from the producer and not him. And this is, he brought up the court documents because, in an email, because he's saying this is basically what they presented in court. So the schedule wasn't up to me, but the producer. Yet the schedule being tight was the producer's doing. Something was off. We were releasing an original game, but only putting out an arranged track was... We were releasing an original game, but only putting out an arranged track was definitely wrong. So we should have put out the full... Yeah. So I believe that the game music that everyone can hum out are the original tracks. So they should release the original OST. I believe that every effort must be put in to make games the best they can be until the very end, so that game fans will enjoy what they buy. It wasn't right to, without discussion, remove and completely disassociate from the project a director saying so. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I basically kind of understand. Retweeting, liking, etc. on SNS and such was banned, so I don't think Square Enix values game fans. There are many comments and wonderful illustrations about Balan Wonderworld, and I'm really sorry that I couldn't react to them. Myself, I'm truly sorry to the customers who bought Balan Wonderworld in an unfinished state. From this point onward, I will be able to react to posts tagging me or directed only toward me on SNS and such. I believe that when making games, asking for fixes in order to make something good should be a given, and if that's not possible, it should be talked over, but it looks like they can't. I don't think they value games. For Sonic the Hedgehog 2, for Sonic the Hedgehog, 2 weeks before finalizing, the spec was changed so that if you have even one ring, you won't die. This now well-known rule was the result of improving the game until the very end, and people world over have enjoyed it as a result. Didn't know that. Neat little fact. Improving a game until the very end is what being a game creator is all about, and if that's not possible, something's wrong. I asked my lawyer to negotiate my just being able to comment until the end of the production, but their refusal led me to file suit. So he asked if he could at least give comments, and they didn't let him. I think that the resulting Balan Wonderworld and the critical reception it received have a lot to do with what happened. I'm really disappointed that a product I worked on from the start turned out this way. I personally regret that Balan Wonderworld was released to the world in an unfinished state. I wanted to consider all kinds of things and release it as a proper action game. I don't think that Square Enix and Arzest value games and their fans. So this is interesting. And there's a couple different takes that you can have on this. This is a very lengthy thread. It'll be linked below as usual. There's a couple takes that you could have on this. One of those is, well, the obvious one is to take this on face value, right? Take this on face value and say, okay, well, what it looks like is that Oh, my brain just stopped working. What it looks like is that Yuji Naka was working on this game, and Square, for whatever reason, did not want him giving more input. They thought that he was detrimental to the project. And the reasons he gives for this is because he disagreed with basically their marketing and he wanted them to release the OST. And because the developer, I'm trying to kind of understand. According to court documents, told producer that the was ruined due to comments I made wanting to improve the game. So Arzus, which I guess was the other developer for the game, submitted the game without fixing bugs. Now, does he mean... I don't know what he means by submitting. Because he was... I'm trying to figure out the timeline on this. Because he says that this is like the second reason that he was removed from the project. But if they were submitting the game for like testing, I don't know what submitting means in this context. Was it for just like bug testing? Because actually that's kind of happening all the time, you know? Was it... And that wouldn't make any sense. That wouldn't make any sense because it's bug testing, so of course there would be bugs in there. The goal is to fix the bugs. So does he mean for like compliance checks with like console makers? Does he mean it for... I don't even know. Because that happens at the end of the process, and most of the stuff that happens in compliance checks actually has nothing to do with the content of the game. He did say it was like 6 months before. So like when they submitted it for compliance, he said that they should have fixed more bugs before they submitted it. And then they didn't like that, I guess? That's the only thing I can really imagine happened, unless there's something that I'm totally forgetting about the process. Most of the stuff that happens in compliance is just like, does the game like brick the console or something? But also it doesn't really make sense. I mean, like, yeah, you should fix bugs to pass compliance, but if you don't pass compliance, they just send the game back and tell you to come back when it's fixed. Huh. I don't exactly... Maybe that's through the translation. Maybe it's, you know, me missing something obvious. But something, like, weird that I don't get? Don't really get this. Theorize down below, because there is like an interesting little detail in there where he says that the decision to oust him from the project was made by let's see specifically who he cites: the producer, the head of marketing, the head of sound, managing director, and human resources. That's interesting. Human resources is a little odd. That's like a lot of people to oust you. And now I'm not saying, I don't want to imply that like it was he's like spinning the story from what really happened. Are Japanese courts like, hang on. Are Japanese courts, can you look them up? I feel like you probably can't. Yuji Naka, Square Enix lawsuit? Because it's over now. Let's see. Dismissal. Oh, wait, okay. The case wasn't dismissed. This headline is referring to his dismissal from the project. Let's see, is there anything that explains it? Naka claimed that according to the court documents, so this is from Anime News Network, courtesy Adriana Hazra, Square Enix removed him as the director of the Balan Wonderworld game 6 months before the game launched because of a strained relationship with the game's developer Arzest and a dispute over the game's soundtrack. Okay, that's basically what we just went over. Naka added that according to court documents, Square Enix removed him as the director because of objections from the producer. Yeah, so all those people. Naka said he hired a lawyer to help him negotiate the ability to give comments to the developers up until the game released, since, yeah, blah, blah, blah. When they didn't allow him to make comments, he sued them. Submitted it without fixing bugs. I don't know what that means. And when he says that, like, he asked... all of this language is very vague. It's like his comments about the bugs, his requests to remove the bugs, but also, you know, things from, we don't have Square Enix's side of the story right now, and I think that would make it more. I would be willing to jump to more of a conclusion if we had that, or I'd feel more comfortable coming to a conclusion, because there's just some interesting things, you know? There's just some things that in my mind don't quite add up. Like, how much of the team wanted him gone? Like, why is that, you know? Why, because everyone, I think the story that everyone's latching onto is the part where he calls out Square. And, like, because, you know, I called out Square in, like, the last episode. Because they're greedy, dumb guys. They're dumb, greedy guys. But, you know, it's easy, like, when this creator, like, because it's such an easy narrative to, like, it's a very appealing narrative, the idea that, like, oh, this guy, he's a creative. Like, everyone loved Yuji Naka because he, quote-unquote, made Sonic. And so there's this narrative, this storyline that, like, oh, he's this beloved creator, and he made this game that was so bad. Oh, my God. Oh, man, that's so disappointing. But wait, what if it was bad not because of him? What if it wasn't his fault, and it was actually the greedy producers? Now, there's an interesting, like, thing here, right, that you can read into. He complains. So here's where I think that kind of breaks down the more that I think about it. People are like, oh, you know, it's because Square doesn't care. When he says Square doesn't care about the quality of games, hey, maybe they don't. But, like, he's talking about bug fixing. He's not talking about, like, the actual, like, biggest problem with Balan Wonderworld, which was, like, every single design decision, like every single core design decision, which was made well before the 6 months, you know, before the game's release, that were when he was low and he was dismissed from the project. Like, I think, you know, the game wasn't bad. Like, I don't remember anyone talking about the game's bugs. Like, maybe there was some, but, like, what people were actually just flabbergasted by was how incomprehensible that game's design was. The fact that, like, every button has the same function. Every button on the controller does the same thing. The fact that there's, like, 80 different, like, costumes that are, like, the different abilities, and, like, half of them are only used once because they just hyper focused in on, like, getting the number of, like, having 80 different powers. And some of them are like the fucking box fox, where the idea is that it's a little fox costume, and then you will sometimes randomly turn into a box that does nothing. That was a real thing. Like, on just a core, like, if you've gotten it, if anyone is, like, read about this story and has gotten it into their head that, like, oh my god, Square ruined this game. No, I feel pretty confident saying that Yuji Naka or at least his direction, is the reason that the game was bad. Because, like, there's a lot of interviews of him explicitly saying, like, this is why we did this. And you're like, oh my god, this guy, like, he didn't know, oh my god. It was, like, completely misled. Like, what the fuck was he thinking? It's a real, like, what were they thinking moment. So, like, yeah, it's interesting. The fact that he sued them is kind of wild. I guess, I don't know what he sued them for. It doesn't look like, I can't find anything that, like, I can't find anything about what he sued them for. I am not familiar with the Japanese court system, so I can't even say, like, wrongful termination, because I don't know how their legal system works, or, like, what you can sue for, or how that works, you know. I can say, like, if this happened in America, or even something like Canada, or you know, like, actually a lot of Western countries at least have, I could assume have a similar thing. Like, you know, the idea of, like, suing someone for wrongful termination. That's what I would assume. But in Japan, I don't know. I don't know if that's how it works over there. I know they have a very different, like, work culture. So I can't even find, like, what he sued them for. Like, I'm looking for I'm looking for the anything of, like, what was the actual lawsuit about. I guess you can't. Hang on. Are Japanese court cases public? Let's find out. The contents are not contrary to public policy? What does that mean? The contents of the judgment and the litigation proceedings are not contrary to public policy in Japan, and the foreign country provides reciprocal recognition of Japanese judgments. What? But can I look up a Japanese case? Maybe not. I don't know why that's so hard to look up. Hang on. Can I look up a Japanese court case? Japanese court records can be obtained from the district prosecutor's office where the court proceeding was held. The applicant must also submit copies of all pertinent sections of the laws under which the applicant was charged, along with an English translation. This is the U.S. Embassy. What the fuck? God damn. Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to just find the answer to this? Can I look up the Supreme Court of Japan? Do you have to get it in person? Court decisions are harder to locate than laws. Okay, I guess maybe you can. It's just really hard to find. Yeah, so I would hold my horses on this. Hey, is more information going to come out? Who knows? I'd be very curious to know what this lawsuit was about and exactly what happened. But I can pretty safely say that, like, look, I think if Yuji Naka had been on for 6 more months, maybe some things would have been different. But, like, it was so bonked from the beginning that, like, there is, like, it wouldn't have mattered. I'm sorry, don't get your hopes up. Hey, look, I wish him the best, but yeah, I'm sorry guy. Hey, before we go, let's do the Wordle. Let's do the Wordle, guys. It's midnight. Let's pump in our first word, crane. Okay, so we got one R. I always go crane and then I go fight. Okay, we've got an R and a T. C. Oh, okay. My first 3 words, I don't know if this is, like, optimal, but my go-to words are crane, then fight, then slops. Slops has like the repeat S, but it gets a lot of S, L, O, and P. Good ones. Good ones. So we've got an S in the first spot, an O in the middle, and there's an R in there and a T. Is it like store? Well, it's not store because there's no E. Storm? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, no M. Stork? Couldn't be anything else. Stork? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, it's not stork. Oh, shit. Story. Oh, it's got to be story. Story. What are my options? Stork with a Q. Store. Story. Storu. Store. Which is not a word. Stored. With no E. Storage. Stores. Storks. Storks. It's like stonks. Storks. Storv. Storb. It's got to be story. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Show me the money, baby. There we go. Guess number 6. Let's hit it. Let's go. All right. Well, I'm gonna call it a day there. We got the Wordle done. We got through some news. We talked about streaming. We really went on a tear today. If you've been listening this long, thank you so much for listening to me ramble about a bunch of nonsense. If you have a question, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. I will definitely get to it next time. Unless it's weird. And it has to be phrased in the form of a question. So until then, have a good one, everybody. Goodbye.